All right, y'all. We give praise, esteem, and honor to the living Elohim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. Pick this up in John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I accuse you. The Abba, there's one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? All esteem, honor, and praise and blessings to the mighty and Kadash name of our Abba and Shamahim by way of his son, Yahushua HaMashiach. We are continuing on in Matthew 5 and 17. There's a few more elements talking to my little homie the other day that may be added, that if the Lord wills, this particular matter will be stretched out for another week, because there's a lot more things to add. And what we're going to add today is something that I mentioned to him based off of what was said to him when he presented this information to others in the assembly that he is a part of. And that is this. We're going to look at Galatians chapter 5, and we're going to look at the things that pertain to the fruit of the Spirit. We will read the verse for recording purposes. You know what I'm talking about? When I say recording purposes, meaning that it be recorded in heaven, that it was read. You know what I'm talking about? But nevertheless, we're going to read each one of those elements. If the Lord allows, we will go through each and every one of them, because it says, it states with the things that are the fruit of the Spirit, there is no law against it. And after I read Matthew 5 and 17, I will explain further what we're going to do. Matthew chapter 5, verse 17. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I come not to destroy, but to fulfill. For truly I say unto you, till Shamahim and the rats pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and teach men so, he shall be called least in the Malkuth of Shamahim. But whosoever shall do and teach, the same shall be called great in the Malkuth of Shamahim. For I say unto you that except your righteousness shall exceed of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall in no case enter into the Malkuth of Shamahim. Now, what we've been dealing with in actuality and reality is the difference between the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Now, most of you who have been around here for a long season, you already know that the tree of knowledge and good and evil is the law. But now you're looking at the things as forth as in contrast when you interject Matthew 5 and 18, and that you begin to see that the law will not be in the kingdom of Shamahim, not because individuals don't have to keep the law, but because of things that pertain to the law. It's something that the law could never do, and that is produce life. It was never intended to produce life. The law shows you that from the beginning, and we shall read. This is one of the reasons why I would tell a little homie this here, right? And when people come round and they ain't never been round, you know what I'm saying? I don't go back and be like, oh, let me teach you these things out of the law. They'll ask certain questions, or they'll see the culture of the people around them, and they will adjust and adapt according to that. We do not spend time teaching the law, because it is a waste of time if everybody in the room already know it. You know what I'm talking about? And when I say teach it, meaning teach it in regards that you should do this and you should do that. We do exactly what the verse leads, that we lead off with every service 3 times a week. And that is, we search the scriptures because we know that they are bearing witness to the Son of the living Elohim. That is our purpose of going through the law, so that you might believe, and that you might accept your hope and your goodness and Elohim. See, my little homie told me, a brother told him, he said, so you telling me a Christian can just believe and they ain't got to keep the law if they walking in the spirit? I say, this nigga here is an idiot. Who even said that? Because you jackass. If you walking in the spirit, one of the fruits of the spirit is love. So if you have love, you're going to keep Elohim's commandments, you big dummy. You know what I'm talking about? And a lot of these brothers need to be told that they stupid. And I'm not talking about brothers who are not teaching the word. I'm speaking explicitly to individuals who call themselves priests, prophets, pastors, bishops, teachers, apostles, and the such and the like. I don't care if they Christian or Hebrew. If they stupid, they stupid. Because the Lord said you surely do err, not knowing the scriptures nor the power of Elohim. So why would I be hesitant? I tell my little homie all the time, I'm a lover of the word. You know what I'm talking about? But I know when a nigga is trash. Most of these dudes are trash. You know what I'm saying? The average person out here, you're not going to know the difference because you don't know what to listen for. You don't know to be able to tell if an individual actually has a strong command and understanding of the word. And that's okay because you really ain't supposed to. You are, but you aren't. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of these niggas trash. Pure, unadulterated trash. Yahuwah ain't with them, ain't never son them. Genesis chapter 2, though. Pick it up at verse 9. See, I don't care about saying it. Because a lot of these niggas going to hell. And they're going to take a lot of people to hell with them with the trash that they teach. You know what I'm talking about? My only desire not my only, several desires for me when I drop the word. And one of them is that you can be able to identify somebody who is trash and they don't know what they're talking about. So you don't risk your soul by listening to them. You know what I'm talking about? So you know exactly the word ain't in him and Yahuwah ain't either. So I'm going to go on about my business. See, it's not my job to tell you don't listen to this person, don't listen to that person. Shalom, Brother Ellis. It's not my job to do that. It's my job to give you the word, and the word will allow you to understand if that person got the word or not. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't got to be walking around here, you need to listen to this person and that person. No, y'all grown. You know what I'm talking about? I give you the tools, you go out there and be an adult. You know what I'm talking about? Simple as that. I ain't got to hold your hand. Y'all grown. I'm going to give you credit for being grown. You know what I'm talking about? That means that you should have enough of discernment and understanding depending on how long you've been in the word. Because if you ain't been in the word that long, you a baby. So then I would have to do that for you. But most of y'all ain't no baby. You know what I'm talking about? Man, let the Lord be his thing. Genesis chapter 2, verse 9. Out of the ground made Yahuwah Elohim to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. I only read that for us to establish and know and understand that the law is good for food and it's pleasant to the sight. You know what I'm talking about? It's all that. It's pleasant to the sight. It's good for food. But nevertheless, it was never intended to bring forth life. Let's see that from the law itself. Genesis chapter 2, verse 15. Yahuwah Elohim took of the man and put him into the garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. And Yahuwah Elohim commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden you may freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat of it, for in the day that you eat thereof, you shall surely die. And that just is what it is. That statement from Yahuwah alone lets you know that the law could never produce life. That was not what it was intended for. The other tree lets you know plain as day it was meant to produce life. It literally says the tree of life. That's what it's literally called. So you can already, based off the name of the tree, to understand that that tree produces life. And as it was in the garden, as it is this day, most individuals are still choosing death to this very day and thinking that they're upholding the ways of life, deceiving their own selves, and will surely have themselves separated from their God and not understand why. And it comes from trash can teaching. A lot of dudes who out here, they always talking about Paul is this and Paul is that. I'm telling you, they telling you that because they trash with the text. They don't know the law. They don't know the writings. They don't know the prophets. They don't know any of that. They don't know the Psalms. They don't know the Proverbs. You still got dudes that can't even wrap their whole mind around the fact that the whole book is about God, about Elohim, about the son of the living Elohim, Yahushua HaMashiach. They can't even wrap their mind. Man, I'm going to tell you something, man. I told the little homie that earlier. I told Will the same thing when I seen him, man. You got some brothers out here, man. They've been dealing with certain type of women for whatever case, and they hurt. You understand me? I'm talking about they hurt deep down in the core of their soul. So if you was to come and tell them, you know, Adam died for his wife because he loved her. You know what I'm talking about? And that relates to Elohim so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that the world might not perish, but they might have life. And then you come back to the Apostle John and he say Elohim is love. And everybody is in Elohim is love. See, they wouldn't be able to understand that type of love for anybody, much less a woman. And that's why they can't grasp that when you tell them, no, Adam doing that was a testimony of what the Son of God would do later. He loved his wife enough because Adam was not guilty. See, when you read 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 14, and it said it wasn't the man that was in sin, it was the woman who was in rebellion, it's because it's giving you a foreshadowing of Yasharal being in rebellion. And he who knew no sin became sin. Do you not understand that Adam didn't know any sin before he took from that tree? But instead he took from that tree the same way that she took from that tree, the same way that it behooved Mashiach not to be made like the Malachim, but to be made like unto his brethren, like unto the seed of Abraham, for the means of death and redemption of the covenant, that they may have a faithful and merciful high priest as it pertains to reconciliation. See, they don't have a loving God in them, so they can't recognize that because they too hurt by women. So all they're going to look at is Eve got us dying. Not understanding that they were Eve. Nigga, the house of Yasharal is Eve, nigga. You the reason why Adam died. But you can't see that because you got too much hate in your heart. The love of God is not in you. That's why he said, I know you. The love of Elohim is not in you. That's why you won't come to him. That's why they won't let the tones tablets go. That's why they won't come to the tree of life, eat, and live forever. They won't do it because they got hate in their heart. They don't even know they got hate in their heart. They hate Yahuwah and they hate anybody who stands for him. I'm telling you, we could go to 100 dudes right now and tell them Adam is representative of the Lord dying for his wife. And 85 of them, and I'm being generous with the 85, I'll tell you, nah, I can't see that, brother. That don't mean that you interjected that in the text because they ain't got no love in their heart. They couldn't see somebody who didn't do nothing wrong sacrificing themselves for their wife because they wouldn't do it for theirs because they've been hurt by too many women. It clouds their judgment. It blackens their heart. They're not able to see the love of God in that. And that's unfortunate. You know what I'm talking about? See, for many years, man, we've been showing you a lot of things out this text. It was for you to see the love of God so you could put your trust in him. That's the only reason why we're here. The law is not going to save you. Your faith in Elohim is the only thing that is going to save you. When that woman came to this man and she would say she was vexed by death, he say, woman, your faith has saved you. That's what he told her. How many times did he tell these people they faith saved them? When when Mary came over there and washed this man's feet with her tears and dried it with his hair, he told that woman, your sins are forgiven you because of your faith. He ain't say nothing about no law to that woman. He didn't say nothing about no law to that woman because the law would never give her what she was looking for. The law does not give forgiveness and mercy, you jackasses who tell people that. Does it not say in Hebrews chapter 10 that people died under the law of Moses without mercy? Come over here and look at it so you can see. See, I got work for days, praise God. You know what I'm talking about? And I ain't with it. And I'm coming for and nigga neck. And if a nigga got a problem with what I'm talking about, you could come holler at me, my G. I'm not going to tap on no internet. You could call my phone. And if you in Jacksonville, Florida, you could come smell my cologne. Because, boy, I'm standing on what I'm preaching, boy. And I mean that. You know what I'm talking about? Hebrew chapter 10, man. You can pick it up at verse 19. But we standing on the gospel of Yahushua, boy. Life or death, free or jail. Don't make no difference, boy. Yahuwah gonna be esteemed, boy. This man done came down here and showed us an everlasting love. He gonna draw you with love and kindness. Turn yourself from your sins and live. This man is faithful. His word is not gonna fail. See, these boys talk all this stuff about their law, right? But they disregard what that man said in Matthew 23 and 23. You disregard the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith, because all you want to talk about is pork chops, shrimps, and Sabbath days with your wicked self. You know what I'm talking about? With your wicked self. Don't think nobody don't know. We know, nigga. We see through you niggas, man. You know what I'm talking about? We ain't on that what you on, my G. Let that be known. I'm not on what you own. You don't like what I'm talking about? Then come holler at me about it. If not, I don't care what you got to say about me. You can go say whatever you want to say to whoever you want to say it. Your opinion of me does not move me. I could care less. I ain't care about what a nigga thought might be before the word, and I definitely don't care about it now. I'm 42 years old, man. What I care about what a nigga got to think or say about me, and none of you young men on here should either. You know what I'm talking about? The only person you should care what they got to say and think about you is you and your brethren, nigga. That's the only people you need to be concerned with. You know what I'm talking about? When I say your brethren, not just the people who you fellowship with, anybody who do the will of God. If they doing the will of the living Elohim, that's your brother. That's the only person. That means if you was out of pocket, they'll come tell your brother you're slipping on you. You know what I'm saying? You're slacking on your maggot, man. Tighten up. You know what I'm saying? Nevertheless, let Yahuwah be esteemed. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 19. You all right? You all right? You had enough? Huh? Because I got 2 more knuckle sandwiches for you. Oh, you still hungry? I'm going to feed you a little bit. Yeah. Go sit down. Go sit down. Hebrews 10:19. Therefore, having therefore, brethren, boldness to enter into Kadash by the blood of Yahushua, by a new and living way, he have consecrated for us through the veil, that is to say, his flesh. And a high priest over the house of Elohim, let us draw near with a true heart and full assurance of faith, having our hearts sprinkled from an evil conscience and our bodies washed with pure water. Let us hold fast the profession of faith without wavering, for he is faithful that promise. That's what you got to remember. You need to hold fast. Notice what he said to hold fast to, the profession of your faith, not the profession of no law. That ain't what he told you to hold on to. See, we've already talked about this. The just shall live by their faith. So if you believe, you're going to keep the man law anyway. That's common sense. I don't even see how people don't understand that that's common sense. That's simple common sense. Let us consider one another to provoke one unto love and to good works, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together as the manner of some, but exhorting, and so much more as you see the day approaching. For if we sin willfully after we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remain no more sacrifice for sins, but a certain fearful looking of judgment and fiery indignation, which shall devour the adversaries. He that despised Moses' law died without mercy under 2 or 3 witnesses. But there was no mercy for you if you broke this man's instruction. You understand that? It ain't there. The law don't call for it. That's why it can't produce life. It doesn't call for mercy. Well, some people say, well, he said he's merciful. He's merciful, but the law is not. Let me show you that. I'm going to show you a couple things. I got to set the stage, make sure it makes it clear. You understand? Because he told you, he that despised Moses' law died without mercy under 2 or 3 witnesses. See that book? Let me show you something there. Exodus 34. Because I asked you a question. What mercy is in the law for committing adultery? What mercy is in the law for breaking the Sabbath? What mercy is in the law for committing murder? What mercy is in the law for covenant? What mercy is in the law for committing idolatry? Where do you see, where is it a precept laid out to be merciful to anybody who violates any of those things? Don't worry, I'll wait. Where is it at? Before we read Exodus 34, come over here to John chapter 4. Let me do that. They'll bear with me because I'm going to walk it down. I just want you to understand that. Where do you see that in the law that there's mercy for any sin that you commit unto death? Where is it at? Ezekiel 18:4 say, the soul that sinneth, it shall die. That's what it say. That's what it say. Everybody know Romans 6:23. The wages of sin is death. So if you sin, you're supposed to die. That's the penalty. Where's the mercy in the law for that? It ain't there. Do you not understand? That's why he told them, don't eat from the tree of knowledge and good and evil. There was no mercy in that tree. They couldn't get it. Niggas still missing it. It's 2022. They still missing it. And it'll be a dummy that'll hear that and think that means you ain't got to keep the law. All you doing is exposing what was already in your heart. You didn't want to keep it. Even if you claim you keep it, if that's what come to your mind. Because that shouldn't be what come to your mind. What should come to your mind is truly our Elohim is merciful and his mercy endure forever. That's what should come to your mind, because he made a way for you to be spared when there was no room for sparing. Lord have mercy. John chapter 4, man, verse 20. Shalom, brother Saul. But see, brothers don't want to deal with that. They don't want to talk about that. Why you think these niggas be on these Clubhouse apps, all on YouTube, Facebook, arguing about the same stuff they've been arguing about since 2010? How you arguing about the same stuff for 12 years, man? I'm not finna be arguing with nobody for nothing for 12 years, man. At that, man, after 2-3 weeks, boy, you can have that. You know what I'm talking about? You can have that. And whoever listened to you, surely it was you who was intent that they perish. Because if the blind lead the blind, then they all going to fall in the ditch. I'm not going to be arguing with nobody about nothing. And I know the word, right? I just heard her brother. I know. He a Christian, but he wasn't wrong. And I've known this brother for years. He told his brother simple and plain. He said, man, every sacrifice in this book, Shalom, Rohan, every sacrifice in this book bear witness to Mashiach. He telling them Noah wouldn't have dared sacrifice a doggone deer or a roebuck on the altar of Elohim. He knew better than that. Dude said, you interloping that in the text. I had to hit my man's in the DM on Clubhouse. I said, bro, I don't even know why you arguing with that dude, but you might well let that go. He ain't gonna catch it. He too stupid. He too stupid. Because I talked to the little home about that earlier this week. They tell him the law wasn't before Moses. The law been since Adam and Eve ate from that tree. Who you think taught them that? How was Enoch able to walk with Elohim, man? How was these people able to begin to call upon the name of Yahuwah if Adam had them sat down and taught them the ways of Elohim? How would Canaan able to know how to bring sacrifices to Yahuwah? How would they know how to do that? How would Noah be perfect in his generations if they ain't had no law, man? See what? This is why we took the time when we were going through Exodus 34, when he was saying the 10 words. You understand? Absolutely, I told you that years ago. I've been on that, bro, man. You don't go back and forth with nobody when you know your information correct. For what? You only do that when you're trying to prove it to yourself. If you know, now I told you, now this Sunday I was told, my big homie, y'all have mercy on his soul. He told me that when I was a kid. Because I was doing that. He said, why is you arguing with this dude and you know you right? He said, you're making a fool out yourself. He said, if he ignorant, let him be ignorant. You know what I'm talking about? He said, don't sit back and argue with no dude and you know what you're talking about. Well, I ain't never forgot that, man. That man told me that when I was about 14, 15 years old, man. I lived my life like that ever since. I'm not arguing with you, bro. You got it, because I already know I'm right. What I look like arguing with a fool? You know what I'm talking about? I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it, bro. Not doing it. And neither should y'all. For what? For what? It don't make sense. It don't make sense for grown men to be doing that. If they don't want to hear it, you bear witness to it, let Yahuwah deal with them. But they done heard the truth, and they going to give account on the last day when them books open. That's all you got to do. And stand on the word and live it for yourself. You ain't got to try to convince nobody of nothing if they don't want to be persuaded. Let them perish. See, I know that sounds harsh because you feel like, man, we got to save everybody. No, I don't. That man said if they won't receive your witness, dust your feet off on them and go your way. I already came and brought mercy to you when I shared with you the goodness and the good news of Yahushua HaMashiach, and you deemed yourself unworthy of life and a lover of death. I ain't got nothing to do with that, brother. If you want to die, I shall surely let you. You know what I'm talking about? You can't beg somebody to live when they don't want to. That's just like begging somebody to stay, and that woman or that man don't want to be with you. There's nothing you can say that can make them stay. They're going to leave, so let them go. You know what I'm saying? Maintain your dignity, your self-respect, your honor. Don't do that to yourself. Love yourself enough to say, I respect myself enough to let this person go if they don't understand that what I have is valuable. You can go. I know what I got is valuable. And if you can't see the value in it, hey, that's unfortunate. John 4:20. You know what? 4:21, because I'm not going to read all that about that woman. I believe. Yahushua said unto her, woman, believe me, the hour come when you shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem worship Abba. You worship, you know not what. We know what we worship. Salvation is of the Yahudim. But the hour coming now is when the true worshipers shall worship Abba in Ruach and in truth. Keep that in mind, that he say the true worshipers must worship him in Ruach and in Amah, Amunah, or Aman, and faithfulness. You understand me? For Abba seeks such to worship him. Elohim is a Ruach, and they that worship him must worship in Ruach and in truth. That's it. If you're going to bow yourself down to this man, you're going to have to do it in Ruach and in truth. No law involved. Let me show you another thing, because I'm trying to set up for something. Come on to John chapter 1. John chapter 1 on general principle. You can pick it up at verse 12. After that, we'll go to Exodus 34 and then Galatians 5 to get into what we got to do tonight, because we had 25 minutes. Don't let these people make no fool out you, man. See, Bruiser try to shame you. You sound like a Christian. You supposed to, you know what, you look at them and tell them, I sound like somebody who want to save their soul and have their name written in the book of life. So if you think demeaning me by calling me a Christian is going to bring that about, then let Yahuwah be esteemed. You know what I'm saying? See, that's the only time I don't take offense if you call me a Christian. See, I don't want to be called a Christian because I don't want to be a part of none of that folly that's attached to that. But if you hear me screaming that I'm standing on the gospel of Yahushua and the faith in God that leads to the deliverance of the soul, and you say, well, you sound like a Christian, I'll take that. Because you're not going to shame me. See, you can't let people shame you because you won't go along with their idiocy and their stupidity. You know what I'm talking about? You need to be rooted. That's why we go through the gospel. That's why we go through the text, so you can be rooted, that your hope and faith might be in Elohim and not man. You know what I'm talking about? You need to have an expectation from Elohim, not man. You need to have a trust in Elohim, not man. Not that you can't trust people, but you need to have a trust in Elohim in forth as it regards to deliverance. You understand? Nevertheless, John chapter 1, verse 12. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of Elohim, to them that believe on his name. Notice that you cannot become a son of Elohim from keeping the laws. Can't happen. See, Adam was a son of Elohim before he actually sat down and took from the law. You understand that? He didn't stop becoming a son of Elohim because he learned the law. Remember what I mentioned when we started. That man died for his wife. He's a literal personification of 2 Corinthians 5 and 17, if I'm not mistaken. That he that knew no sin became sin. Let me read it to you just in case I'm leaving something now. I didn't want you to know that he fulfilled that there. See, let me tell you something why a lot of these brothers can't pick up what Paul putting down, you understand? Because these boys trash, and it's not verse 17, it's 21, but I'll read 17 anyway. You can get 2 Corinthians 5 and 17. See, I'm going to tell you why these boys can't pick up what the man putting down, because they trash with the word. When you don't know the law like that, man, look here, let me tell you something. A man like Paul, bro, the man say he was trained by Gamaliel, perfect man of the law, taught in the gospel from Yahushua himself. That means the word flow out of him. When the word flow out of you, then you're going to speak word, and only people who know word going to pick that up. If you don't know no words, you're not going to pick that up. That's why we read that last week where Peter say they don't know the other scriptures and they wrestle with it to their own destruction. That's why I told y'all who've been around here for a long time, and Lil Muffin probably get tired of me mentioning it because I mention it every time. I told Lil Muffin from day one, anything we read in this man's letters or in these gospels, we got to validate it out the Old Testament. Don't think that there's not a witness for it, because there is. Because there is. And just because you can't find the witness don't mean something was wrong with his writings. It just means that you don't have the understanding yet. Pray you who will direct you to somebody with it or give it to you himself. But don't sit back and say that man wrong because you don't understand, because you can't link it up. That's lazy, disrespectful, and rude. 2 Corinthians 5 and 17. We also need to get 1 Corinthians chapter 6, but we'll get that in a minute. Therefore, if any man in Hamashiach, a new creature, old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. And all things of Elohim, who have reconciled us to himself by Yahushua HaMashiach, have given to us the ministry of what? Reconciliation. That's what he gave us. See, the law can't reconcile you back to Elohim. Only the tree of life can do that. Only the gospel can do that, because you broke the law. So you're already separated from him. You keeping the law again is not going to bring you back to him. There has to be some manner of reconciliation. To wit, that Elohim was in Hamashiach, reconciling the world unto himself, not imputing their trespasses unto them, and have committed unto us the word of reconciliation. Meaning, he did not punish you for what you were guilty of. Because this man offered himself, therefore he has not imputed those trespasses. Therefore, you have been extended grace, aka mercy, of which you could not get from the law, because he that despised Moses' law died without mercy under 2 or 3 witnesses. Is that not what we read? Now then we are ambassadors for Hamashiach, as though Elohim did beseech by us, we pray, and Hamashiach's stead be you reconciled to Elohim. For he have made him sin for us who knew no sin, that we might be made the righteousness of Elohim in him. Adam didn't know any sin. Let me read y'all that 1 Timothy 2 and 14 so y'all can understand why I'm saying what I'm saying. Adam did not know any sin. That's what I mean by people so carnal. Because they're going to look at it, why he ain't stop her, why he let the devil talk to her. And because they ain't got the love of God, they miss what was really going on. Adam could have walked away and let her die by himself and gotten another wife. The same way Yahuwah came to Moses and say, I'll kill them all and make a new people out of you. But these people supposed to know the book, though. And they can't even see the love of God and none of that. They can't even see it. Eyes closed. Veil still over their heart. You can't do nothing about that. Only Yahuwah can turn the soul after that. You can't do nothing about that. You got to let the Lord do what he do. I think I'm in the wrong chapter, by the way. No, I'm not. My apologies. We'll pick this up at 1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 9 and go from there. In like manner also that women adorn themselves in modest apparel with shamefacedness and sobriety, not with broidered hair or gold or pearls or costly array, but which become women professing faithfulness with good works. Let the women learn in silence with all subjection. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. But Adam was first formed, and then Eve. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. Adam was not deceived by his flesh. Adam was not deceived by the words of the serpent. That was Eve. Adam did not rebel. That was Eve. When Adam came through and took part of it also, it's the same as a Mashiach becoming flesh and blood. He loved his wife enough to become sin for her in order to redeem her later. But brothers miss it. Because, of course, we talked about this here in verse 15 before. We won't go into detail right now. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing if they continue in faith, charity, and kadash with sobriety. And we know Mashiach gave birth on that tree. That's why he got hit in the side to be emblematic of having a womb, because male and female created he them and called their name Adam. That's why a woman can be able to be saved in childbirth, because a Mashiach was saved in childbirth. We've had this conversation before. What a mighty Elohim that you have, that he actually went through childbirth so he could be a space of comfort and strength for a woman when she's going through childbirth. Because who has a God so merciful that he has taken on every experience, whether male or female, that he could be a faithful and merciful high priest unto those whom he serves. But see, they don't want to talk about that. These boy hurt, man. These boy beta male set manginas, busters and suckers. Weak men who done picked up the word to try to flex their masculinity when in reality they scared little males and little boys. Hurt and broken, not understanding why they're not getting the desired results that they want. Because they don't know Elohim, they ain't seen Elohim, they ain't heard Elohim, they haven't experienced Elohim, and if Yahuwah don't see fit to open their eyes, they shall perish, and everyone who follows behind them. You know what I'm talking about? And that is what it is, man. You can take that however you want to take it. But Yahuwah done said that's what it's going to be. Prayerfully, you don't fall into that trap. Let's take a look over here. I need to finish John chapter 1. I need to get to 1 Corinthians 6. I need to get to Exodus 34. I need to get to Galatians 5. But let me knock this John chapter 1 out the box. I stopped at verse 12. Now we in verse 13. Which were born not of blood, nor the will of the flesh, nor the will of man, but of Elohim. And the word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his esteem, the esteem as the only begotten of Abba, full of mercy and truth. John bare witness of him and cried, saying, This is he of whom I spake. He that come after me is preferred before me, for he was before me, and his fullness have we received, and mercy for mercy. For the law was given by Moses, but mercy and truth came by Yahushua HaMashiach. I just want you to understand that delineation that was made between Moses and Yahushua is the delineation made between the tree of knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life. The law coming by Moses is representative of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and mercy and truth, or grace and truth coming by Yahushua HaMashiach is representative of the tree of life. I pray that you understand that. If you got questions, don't hesitate to drop them in the chat, whether it be on YouTube or on Clubhouse. I do not mind. I will answer your question. I ain't going to look at you like, why you asking me that? You can ask what you want when you need to ask it. Don't never, ever at any point in time feel like you can't ask no question. That is not that type of party over here. Exodus chapter 34. Some of y'all already know that, but for those who don't know that, I just want you to know that you can ask a question. You ain't got to sit there and be like, I want to ask, but I don't want to stop. I don't want to. No, ask your question. It don't make sense for you to sit there and don't catch it. I would rather you ask a question and we divert for a moment than you for sit there and not have understanding because you didn't ask your question. Don't sit there and hold no question. Don't do it. Because I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be more pissed that you had a question and didn't ask it than that you asked it. To be dead honest with you. Exodus chapter 34, verse 4. Go ahead. Go ahead. You good?
Okay. So my question is, Eve ate the apple from the tree.
Right.
Now, would it be different if Adam would have just done, like you said, just like, no, forget her, I'm just finding me another wife? What if he didn't eat the fruit and only Eve did? Would have made some type of difference?
What would that would have translated to is Yasharal would have been cut off, and we could have never came back to Yahuwah ever, and we would just basically be exiled to be servants of all the nations and never be able to be reconciled to our husband. That's basically what that would be. Shoot, I understand East, man. He said, I got to buy y'all a piece. That makes sense to you? Because if you... Because remember, I think it's Isaiah 65, and one member say he spread out his hands. He's sought by people who's not called by his name. At the end of the day, Yahuwah only had a desire to be with one woman, and that was Yasharal. So that's why he was willing to die for that woman, because that's how much he loved that woman. You know what I'm saying? That he was willing to do that. And a lot of our brothers, that's also the reason why Deuteronomy 24, that the divorce statute is even put in there. Because if he didn't put it in there, then we could never be able, he would have had to kill us. You know what I'm saying? But instead of killing you, let me put you away so I can come up with a plan to see. Again, but it goes back to the point of, this is a whole nother thing. I've talked about this before, but I'm going to mention it now. If your people didn't love you, and what do I mean by that? If you didn't feel like, shalom, brother, if you didn't feel like your mama loved you, your daddy loved you, anybody in your life loving you, you not going to understand the love of God in the text when you see it. Because love is going to be such a foreign concept for you that you will not be able to catch it and you'll resist it. That's why he say Elohim is love, and everybody who is in Elohim is love. Let me get that for you because I keep referencing it. I think it's 1 John chapter 4, verse 17 that I require. We could back that up. We could make it about verse 7, actually. It's verse 7. 1 John chapter 4, verse 7. 1 John chapter 4, verse 7. And it says, beloved, let us love one another, for love is of Elohim. Everyone that love is born of Elohim and know Elohim. Shalom, that anybody who got love in them gonna know God, because they would be born of God. But it's got to be the love of God, not what you perceive love to be. He that love not know not Elohim, for Elohim is love. And this was manifested the love of Elohim towards us, because the Elohim sent his only begotten Son into the world that we might live through him. Herein is love, not that we love Elohim, but that he loved us and sent his Son, the propitiation for our sins. Beloved, if Elohim so loved us, we ought to love one another. See, what they didn't even catch and realize is Elohim, so Adam loved Eve to this point that he was willing to offer himself for her sin. Adam was the son of Elohim, and he offered himself for that woman's sin. See, what you see with that there is, we don't have that type of understanding. See, what Adam didn't get is what Yahusha got in regards to the tree of life and showing that love. But we're going to get to that in a moment. Let me read the Exodus 34 and 4. We get 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 7, I believe, and then we'll get straight to Galatians 5 and 16 and make it do what it do to show these examples of what I mentioned earlier, but didn't give all the details to, but gave you just a little bit so you could catch what we were talking about. Exodus 34 and 4. And he hewed the 2 tables of stone like unto the first. Moses rose up early in the morning and went up unto Mount Sinai, as Yahuwah had commanded him, and he took in his hand the 2 tables of stone. Yahuwah descended in the cloud and stood with him there and proclaimed the name of Yahuwah. And as Yahuwah passed by before him, proclaimed Yahuwah Elohim. merciful, gracious, long-suffering, abundant in goodness and truth. I want you to keep that in mind along with that John chapter 4. I'm going to read it to you again. And Yahuwah passed by before him and proclaimed, Yahuwah Elohim, merciful and gracious, long-suffering, abundant in goodness and truth, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, and that will by no means clear. This is the iniquity of the fathers upon the children and upon the children's children unto the third and the fourth. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 7, I believe, but it's probably 9, though. We probably don't need verse 7. Yeah, we don't. We don't. Straight to verse 9. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 9. Know you not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the malkuth of Elohim? Be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate. Just for informational purposes, an effeminate man is a male temple prostitute. Not a feminine man, but a man who sells his butt at the altar of a false god, because that's what they did in them days and times. These people sold their booty hole for false gods, if you didn't know. Nor abusers of themselves with mankind, nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revilers, nor extortioners shall inherit the malkuth of Elohim. But look at what he tell you. And such were some of you. But you were washed, but you are sanctified, but you are justified in the name of the Lord Yahushua and by the Ruach of our Elohim. Notice that you weren't made righteous by the law here because of your sin. Because what did you read in John chapter 1? Mercy and truth came by Yahushua HaMashiach. What did you see in Exodus 34? Elohim is a Ruach, and Elohim proclaimed his name, and he said he was merciful and gracious. Again, remember, there is no mercy in the law. The law does not call for mercy for a murderer. The law says a murderer should die. You know what I'm talking about? Simple as that. The law says a murderer should die. But see, what we don't pick up, remember, he said that I'll be merciful to whom I shall be merciful, because Elohim is a Ruach. See, the Ruach or faith has mercy attached to it, of which the law does not have. And most Brews don't pick that up. See, he wasn't saying that the law was merciful. He was saying Yahuwah was merciful. Well, Yahuwah is a Ruach. So the Ruach shows mercy. Again, we about to look at that in the fruits of the Spirit. You understand? That's why I say the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith. You know why they're weightier matters? Because that's when you're dealing with Yahuwah and his character, and his spirit. That's why it's weightier. Sabbath days and feast days and dietary laws and what you do with your penis and washings and diverse ordinances have nothing to do with the spirit of Yahuwah. Let that be known. Fringes ain't got nothing to do with the spirit of Yahuwah. Let that be known. Galatians chapter 5, man, verse 22. But the fruit of the Ruach is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith. Do you not notice what we seen where Yahuwah, when he proclaimed his name, that he said he was long-suffering, gentle, and good? That's why I told you to pay attention to that. Meekness, temperance, against such there is no law. And that's what we're here for. All these things that pertain to the fruit of the Spirit, there is no law. So let me ask y'all a question. When you hear there is no law, what is the first thing that come to your mind? If you want to raise your hand and say it audibly in Clubhouse, you may. When you hear him say, against such there is no law, what is the first thing that come to your mind? Rock out, Drew.
First thing come to my mind is it's like there's nothing against it. Like you can't get mad at it. Like it's not evil or it's not nothing to correct.
Tenfold, yes, sir. I appreciate that. I hit that for you, Darius. Oh, it did it so quick. It probably didn't even get you, Darius. There it is. Go ahead, you go ahead, Darius first, and then Darius. Stanley, you got Genesis 3 and 17. Hold on, I'm gonna read it. Go ahead, Darius.
I was gonna say this: no death, because the death is tied in with the law.
No death. Come on, Darius.
I was gonna say no death going back to the garden with Adam.
No death. Yes, sir. Anybody else? Hold on, Stanley. I got you. I'm seeing what you got. Genesis 3 and 17. Stanley referenced Genesis 3 and 17, which says, and under Adam, he said, because you hearken unto the voice of your wife, you cursed as you the ground for your sake. and sorrow you'll eat it all the days of your life. But Darius and Derek just hit the nail on the head. Because there is no law against it, think to me, when you break the law, what has to happen? When you break the law of Yahuwah, what has to happen? Death. So if there is no law against those things in Galatians 5, then what does that mean? That these things pertain to life. So what are we about to look at? Every single solitary person who exhibited these fruits of the Spirit, none of them died because they did it, because there's no law against you doing it. Therefore, there is no condemnation, like it says in Romans chapter 8. And we're going to look in the law, we're going to look in the text for every single solitary person who did that, and none of them died because of it. Absolutely, that there's no judgment against that. Then you can't die. So this is why there'll be no law in the Malkuth of Shamahim, or the kingdom of heaven, or the kingdom of God. Because there'll be no reason for it, because everybody will be exhibiting the things that are the fruits of the Spirit. There's no law against it. Therefore, there can be no death, because there will be no sin. But see, this will not happen until heaven and earth pass. See, as long as you got this heaven and this earth, the one that he made from the beginning, then there's going to be a law there, because there are sinners. See, Adam and Eve weren't sinners, so there was no need for no law for them in the garden. What need would they have had for it? He made man upright. Man was not created to be a sinner. Why? Because your God is not a sinner. Come over here and look at Job 34 for that. We're going to start with temperance first. So we're going to go to the book of Genesis when it comes to that. Make sure I got what I want. Yes, Job chapter 34. Job 34, verse 7 is fine. After that, I think it's Genesis. It's escaping me. I think it might be 35, but I'll not 35, like 38 or 39, but we'll check in a moment. Job 34, I make it verse 5. You know what? Make it 1, because there's a couple things there. I'm going to go ahead and get it to you while we're there. Furthermore, Elihu answered and said, hear my words, O you wise. Give ear unto me, you that have knowledge, for the ear try words as the mouth tastes meat. Remember when he said you ought to try the spirits, so whether they be a Elohim or not, because your ear's supposed to try these people's words the same way you taste your food. Your ear's supposed to try and prove what these people talking about. Man, I kind of told y'all that before, man. Many times when I used to preach in the street, and people used to be like, oh, I got to test your spirit. I never got offended. I said, baby, you ain't doing nothing but what the book tell you to do. Why would I be mad at you if you testing to see if the word I'm speaking is the word of God or not? That don't offend me, baby. You doing what you supposed to do. Ain't nothing wrong with it. And anybody who teach the word should never be offended by it. You ain't see Yahusha get offended when the people tested him to see if what he was saying was the word of God. You know what I'm talking about? Not near time. But let's continue. Go ahead.
When they fail to test, they be offended.
When they fail to test, they be offended. Job 34:4. Let us choose to us judgment. Let us know among ourselves what is good. What's going on, Brother Langford? For Job have said, I am righteous, and Elohim have taken away my judgment. Should I lie against my right, my wound incurable without transgression? What man is like Job, drink up scorning like water, which go into company with the workers of iniquity and walk with wicked men? For he said, it profit a man nothing that he should delight himself with Elohim. Therefore hearken unto me, you men of understanding. Far be it from Elohim that he should do wickedness, and from the Almighty that he should commit iniquity. For a work of man shall be rendered unto him, and cause every man to find according to his ways. Yea, surely Elohim will not do wickedly, neither will the Almighty pervert judgment. This man ain't doing no sin, bro. He ain't doing no sin, bro. That's not how it works. You understand? Let's get the book of Genesis, man. Let's look at temperance. Let's look at the temperance of Joseph and see how the temperance of Joseph produced life, because there's no law against self-control. Ain't that right? That's what it say, ain't it? Well, thank the Lord. It's Genesis 39 that we need. We'll start at verse 4. I'll move around a little bit Because we're not going to read everything because it's Wednesday, so we short on time. But I can give you 40 more minutes, though. (39:4). Genesis. Joseph found mercy in his sight, and he served him. He made him overseer over his house, and all he had put into his hand. It came to pass from the time he made him overseer in his house, over all that he had, that Yahuwah Baruch the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake, and the Baruch of Yahuwah was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he knew not aught he had, save the bread which he did, and Joseph was goodly and well favored. It came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, lie with me. But he refused and said unto his master's wife, behold, my master walked not with me. In the house he hath committed all that he have into my hand. None greater in the house than I. Neither have he kept back anything from me but you, because you are his wife. How then could I do this great wickedness and sin against Elohim? Now, see, this is the thing where more people are going to look at. See, he didn't want to commit adultery because he didn't want to break the law. But he also sat back and look at the blessings that Elohim has gave me because I have been faithful to him. Should I trouble my own soul by bringing death and destruction upon it, by doing such folly? I'm not going to do that. I ain't that stupid. You know what I'm talking about? So he showed self-control. And of course, you know, he went to jail. And because he went to jail, he was able to be in that dungeon to give that vision, which we know was a parallel Yahusha preaching to the spirits in prison. This we know. And because he did this, he was exalted to sit at the right hand of Pharaoh, was he not? And that at every knee should bow to Joseph, and that only enthroned would Pharaoh be greater than him, and he was exalted to be the highest in the land as his testimony of Yahusha resurrecting from the dead. We finna get to it and look at Genesis chapter 50, look at what he told to his brothers. This is an example because Joseph showed self-control. Yahuwah did not kill him. And because he did not kill him, it saved many souls alive. Brother Langford know what it said. See, look at the Lord. See, praise God. See, when you got the word in you, understanding that stuff will come to your mind. That's why I be telling you all that. That's why we look at the nuance and look at the character of who Yahuwah is. And when you do that, when you hear these testimonies, then the witness of God come to your heart, and then you begin to understand and begin your trust in God begin to be even stronger. And that's how you hold fast to his law even harder, because you trust in his promises. You have understanding of his will, so you would do the same thing. I'm not finna sin against my God doing this foolishness you talking about. Is you stupid or is you dumb? You know what I'm talking about? And guess what happened? We ain't have to spend no time talking about thou shalt not and thou shalt not. Because your love for God was greater than for you to ever do anything contrary to his will. The just shall live by their faith, because you waiting on his promises. You waiting for a new heaven, a new earth, where dwell righteousness. You know what I'm talking about? Let you who will be this thing. Genesis chapter 50. Make sure I'm in the right. Yeah, there we go. 50 and 16, if you would. Matter of fact, make it 50 and 15. Matter of fact, you're going to get the double, because you're going to get mercy or long suffering right here with Joseph also. Because look what his brother's about to say. Genesis 50 and 14. Joseph returned into Mizraim, he and his brethren and all that went up with him to bury his father after he had buried his father. And when Joseph's brethren saw that their father was dead, they said Joseph would peradventure hate us, and will certainly requite us all the evil which we did unto him. They sent a messenger unto Joseph, saying, your father did command before he died, saying, so shall you say unto Joseph, forgive, I pray you now, the trespass of your brethren and their sin, for they did unto you evil. Now we pray you, forgive the trespass of the servants of the Elohim of your Abba. And Joseph wept when they spake unto him. And his brethren also fell down before his face, and they said, behold, we your servants. Joseph said unto them, fear not, for am I in the place of Elohim? Look what he told her. He said, you don't fear God? I ain't in God's place. You see the humility? But as for you, you thought evil against me. Elohim meant it unto good, to bring to pass as it is this day, to save much people alive. Now, therefore, fear you not, I will nourish you and your little ones. And he comforted them and spake kindly to them. See, let's look at nourished you and your little one. See, the gospel is all in Joseph's story, from the persecution to the death, to the resurrection, to the ascension, and to the redemption. But these hard-headed, unbelieving bastards can't see it. They're too stubborn. They hate God too much in their heart to be able to see it. You understand? When you look at what he meant when he said nourish them, he said he will nourish your little ones. That means cool. That means that he will support, sustain, and restrain. The word is spelled with a kaf, u, and lamar. It is to sustain, support, nourish, contain, restrain, support, endure, hold in. What does that mean? Well, remember it says that Mashiach constrained us. That's what Paul wrote in 2 Corinthians 5 and 14, right? Did the apostle Jude tell you that this man is able to keep you from falling? And notice he said, Joseph said, I will do it. I will support, nourish, and restrain your little ones. See, that's the testimony of the Lord, but they don't see it. They won't come to the man that they might have life. Then he turned around and said, then he'll comfort you, which is Natham, which is to console oneself, to comfort you. And he told you that he won't leave you comfortless, for he will send you a comforter. And then he said he spoke kindly to them. Kindly here is Lev. He spoke to their heart. Do you not remember that's what the new covenant is? That the word will rest in your heart and in your inward parts. Do you not recall Paul stated? Let me read you that Romans 10. What he said when it comes to that. This is not the only other place where that he said that he would speak to their heart. See, the law don't speak to your heart. That's why it's not a gospel of reconciliation. Did you not see that? Did you not see Joseph seeking to reconcile and not to condemn because he's an ambassador of Elohim? Therefore, he gave them the gospel of the ministry of reconciliation. These niggas ought to burn in hell for teaching this garbage they out here teaching. You know what I'm talking about? He made a not of God. We ain't got to call no names. Y'all know who these niggas is. They not of God. Man, I was looking at a clip, man. IUIC ran up on Geno Jennings, right? This ain't about IUIC or Geno Jennings. Dude talking about why Geno ain't come out there and talk to him. I say, shoot, I wouldn't have went out there and talked to him. As a grown man, what I look like going on the corner with 300 dudes who out here making a spectacle of themselves to argue about some word. I got more self-respect and dignity to fall for some foolishness like that. You know what I'm talking about? What I look like? Oh, I got to prove something and come out here and debate these Israelites. Man, that's false bravado and false manhood, man. Ain't no man in his right mind finna lower himself to some foolishness like that. You out here standing out on the corner, lined up and down the street like that's supposed to mean something. You understand? That don't mean nothing, man. I'm not doing that. Ain't no grown man, and this man old enough to be some of these dudes, granddaddy. Ain't no grandfather going outside and disrespecting himself like that. That's how foolish, that's what type of time we on. And we think we doing something. You look like a fool. I'm not listening to you. I'm not listening to you because that's not a show of manhood. I'm not listening. Ain't no man gonna do that. A man gonna say, hey man, I want to have audience with you. And if the man want to have audience with you, then you're going to have audience with him. And if he don't, then he don't. I'm going to move my way. I'm not finna bring no whole bunch of men outside running our mouth, acting like we doing something. I don't care what type of doctrine they teaching. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't doing it. I got more respect for myself than that. I don't even remember where I was going. That's it. I appreciate it, man. Romans chapter 10. Romans 10 and 5. And I'm telling y'all that you need to have respect for yourself as a man. You dig? That's what you need to do. Have respect for yourself as a man. Don't fall into this folly that you feel like you got to prove something to somebody to prove you a man. This is what the men of God do. This is what the man Yahushua wouldn't dare have been posted up in front of nobody church talking about come out and debate me. He wouldn't have dared did no foolishness like that. For what? He'd have been more focused on doing his father's business. That ain't his father's business. You know what I'm talking about? You don't see Yahushua posted up nowhere talking about, I need to get these Israelites out these places of idol worship. Nah, man, I'm in the street, my G. Let the voice go out. Wisdom speaketh in the streets and call the simple ones and say, how long will you love simplicity? I'm out here hustling, man, pitching this work. You see me out here. You know what I'm talking about? Some of you boys used to hustle on the street. You know what I'm saying? On the block, on the corners. You know what I'm talking about? The people who cop, they knew you was out there. When I was on Atlantic Beach, man, them smokers knew where I was at. They knew I was going to be off in front of the store, the J&J store on Mayport Road. They knew I was going to be at. I was always there pitching. They knew my work was good, too. They always came and seen it. You understand? Walked past a whole bunch of other dealers to come cop my work. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't got to do all that. They knew about me. You understand? When I was off in the cut of Justine in the hole, they knew about me. They knew what we was moving. When I went back to the beach hustling in COs, well, they knew what I was holding, man. I ain't have to stand out there and do nothing. Talking about, don't caught from him. I ain't have to do none of that. Well, they knew what I was holding, man. I'm coming to see him. I heard about him. It was people heard about Yahusha. They came to see about him. He ain't have to go around there and tell them, no, listen to them, listen to me. He ain't have to do that. Nigga, that's weak. If your work good, then, man, one thing for certain and two things for sure, man, good work sell itself. It sell itself. You ain't got to put no spin on it. You ain't got to put no gimmicks on it. It sell itself, man. You understand? Romans chapter 10, man. You could pick it up at verse 6 if you would. You could make it 5, man, on general principle. For Moses described the righteousness which is of the law, make it 4. For Mashiach is the purpose of the law, for righteousness to everyone that believes. For Moses described the righteousness which is of the law, that man which do these things shall live by them. But the righteousness which is of faith speak on this wise. Uh-oh. You see the difference? See, you got to live by that. See, if you don't live by that law, you're going to die. But if you live by the Spirit, there is no law against the Spirit. You cannot die. It is impossible. But the righteousness which is of faith speak on this wise, say not in your heart, who shall ascend into Shamahim, and that is to bring Mashiach down from above, or who shall descend into the deep, that is to bring up Mashiach again from the dead. But what say it? The word is near you, in your mouth, in your heart. That is the word of faith which we preach. That if you shall confess with your mouth the Lord Yahushua and believe in your heart that the Elohim have raised him from the dead, you shall be saved. For with the heart man believe unto righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made unto salvation. Why you think Joseph was speaking to the men's heart? Why you think you read that in the book of Hosea? Why you think you read that in Jeremiah? He was speaking to their heart because the heart is where man believe at. You see how that work in with the faith? And who you seen in this book have faith in God and died? Who you seen? Who you read in this book that showed faith in Yahuwah and died because of it? Where you see one at? Where you read that at? Don't go to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John in the epistle letters. Where you read from Genesis to Malachi, any man who showed faith in God and died, you won't find it. You won't find it. Joseph showed faith in God and lived. You understand me? Moses showed faith in God and lived. You understand me? Where you see that at? Even Naaman the Syrian with leprosy, he showed faith in the word of Elisha, got dipped and was healed. Ain't no sin fall upon him. You want to talk about humility, meekness? Even Ahab, as wicked as he was, when he fell down and repented, when he seen what he seen, Yahuwah said, you see how he humbled himself before me? I won't do it in his time. He told me I won't kill his sons in his time. He didn't die. Because there's no law against showing anything that's a manifestation against the Ruach Elohim. Anybody who showed those things will live in that moment. We're just giving you examples of this, whether the person is wicked or righteous. You understand? You want to look at long suffering? Look at Jacob. Esau wanted to kill him because he had long suffering with his brother and showed that humility. That man didn't die, nor did his household. We could go on for days. This does not mean that you don't have to keep the law, but if you're looking for life from the law, I'm telling you, you're going to hell. Because you're not going to find what you're looking for, because you may have the law, but you'll be bereft of the Ruach. And whoever don't have the Ruach of Mashiach, he is none of his, and you will not enter into his kingdom, because flesh and blood won't enter in. Flesh and bone will, and those who are flesh and bone have the Ruach of God in them, because the same way that the life is in the blood, the life is in the Ruach. And where there is no Ruach, there is no life. You know that all of you have been to a funeral. You have all seen a body laying in a casket with no breath in it. Well, that's the same as you. If you ain't got the Ruach Elohim, you walking around alive, but nigga, you dead. And you're not dead to your sins and trespasses. You dead in your sins. because you have not repented and believed the gospel of the only begotten Son of the living Elohim and trusted in his everlasting name that you might have life. Because the law can't give you that, my G. I'm sorry to tell you this. I'm sorry to tell you this. It can't give you what you're looking for. And for those who think we just started talking like this, I've been on this for 10 years. Truth be told, 13. I ain't never been on nothing different. And anybody in here who know me and been around me, they could tell you that. I ain't never been on nothing different. We ain't just doing this for shock value. We ain't just start doing this to be controversial. Bro, we've been preaching this the whole time. Praise be to Yahuwah. He just give us more and more understanding. That's all he do. But we've been doing this the whole time. And we're not going to change. I've told you this before, and I'm going to tell you again, we're not changing. Elohim don't change, and we don't change. You understand? Let's look a little bit of joy. Let's look at David dancing with a little bit of joy. Because if you know the text, you know the joy of Yahuwah. Tell me what the rest is. Who can tell me the rest? The joy of Yahuwah is what? I got to find it. I can't even remember where it's at. Tell me the joy of Yahuwah is what? There you go. There go Big Boo. Mother Sharona and Sean. There it is. That's your strength. And what is strength? Trust in Yahuwah. For trust in Yahuwah is everlasting strength. You understand me? Let's look at David because he had a 2 Samuel chapter 6. That's what we want. I didn't want you to know that. That's why I say Elohim is a Ruach. These are the fruits of the Ruach. What does the fruit come from? It comes from a seed. What is the seed? The seed is the word of Elohim. This is what the word is supposed to produce. The law cannot produce this in you. The law cannot produce faith. It was not meant to. The law cannot produce joy. It was not meant to. The law cannot produce meekness and gentleness and goodness. It was not meant to. Only faith can produce those things because those things come of the Spirit, which means they come from Yahuwah. The law is simply exactly what it says it is. It's the knowledge of good and evil. That's exactly what it is. You know what I'm saying? And we guess what? And we know the law is pleasant to the sight and it's good. We know that. If you think we saying the law ain't good, you's a fool. Because that ain't what we saying. But we're not going to put the law, we're not holding to the righteousness of the law. We want the righteousness that's of God. That's what we want. And that come by faith. That's what we desire. Because that's the only way you're going to get the Ruach. You know how many brews I done asked, man, how you get the Spirit? They said the law. I said, the Lord didn't say that. Why you saying that and the Lord didn't say that? Come over here, man. 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 6. And when they came to Nashon's threshing floor, Uzzah put forth to the ark of Elohim, took hold of it, for the oxen shook it. The anger of Yahuwah was kindled against Uzzah. Elohim smote him there for error, and there he died by the ark of Elohim. David was displeased because Yahuwah made a breach upon Uzzah. And he called the name of the place Peraz Uzzah, meaning a breach between Uzzah to this day. And David was afraid of Yahuwah that day and said, how shall the ark of Yahuwah come to me? So David would not remove the ark of Yahuwah unto him into the city of David. David carried it aside into the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite. The ark of Yahuwah continued in the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite 3 months. Yahuwah baruched Obed-Edom and all his household. It was told to the King David, saying, Yahuwah have blessed the house of Obed-Edom and all under him. And because of the ark of Elohim, so David went and brought up the ark of Elohim from the house of Obed-Edom into the city of David with gladness. And it was that when they bare the ark of Yahuwah and had gone 6 paces, he sacrificed oxen and fatlings. David danced before Yahuwah with all his might. David was girdled with the linen ephod. So David and all the house of Yasharal brought up the ark of Yahuwah with shouting with the sound of a trumpet. And as the ark of Yahuwah came into the city of David, Michal, Saul's daughter, looked through a window and saw King David leaping and dancing before Yahuwah, and she despised him in her heart. This rotten, no good woman hated this man because he found joy in the words and the promises and in the ark of the covenant of the living God to bring it into the city of David, that the people might be able to serve their God in righteousness and in joy. And because he was happy about it, she was pissed off. But you know what happened to this funky dog back hoe? Let me read to you what happened to this funky dog back hoe. And that's why I call it this here. Let me read more to you though. And he brought in the ark of Yahuwah and set it in its place in the midst of the tabernacle that David pitched for. And David offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before Yahuwah. And as soon as David made an end of offering burnt offerings and peace offerings, he baruched the people in the name of Yahuwah. Listen what he did. And he dwelt among all the people, among the whole multitude of Yasharal, as well to the women as to the men. See, again, this take you to free, no male nor female, but all one in Yahuwah Mashiach, because the women got the same thing as the men. See, when you know the book, then you read that, you got examples for it. Let me read it to you again. And then he dwelt among all the people, even among the multitude of Yasharal, as well to the women as to the men. To every one cake of bread, and a good piece, and a flagon. So the people departed, everyone to his house. We didn't talk that back before. He had gave these people a piece of the man gave you his body and his blood, that was showing you that he was giving you the tree of life versus what you had before. Remember what he told them. He said the law and the prophets was till John. Now the Malkuth or Shamahim is preached, and everybody is pressed into it. You know what I'm saying? You had the tree of knowledge of good and evil till the Lord came. Now you got the tree of life. Faith was shut up unto you. Now it's revealed. We talked about that last week. That's what them flaming swords was about. You took the law instead of faith, so he shut up faith until the time appointed. Now faith has been revealed and the sword has been taken off the tree of life. Go eat. Why you still holding on to something that killed you when they got something to give you life? Are you dumb or are you stupid? You know what I'm talking about? Because that's what's wrong with it. We stupid. I'm talking about as a whole, as a people. We holding this book and we stupid because we looking at life dead in the face and say, I don't want that. That don't look appealing to me. You know what I'm talking about? And thinking that you better than somebody else and you just as dead as them. You know what I'm talking about? Why would you turn down life when it's staring you in the face and it's free? That's right. The veil, amen. The veil has been removed. Boy, it's free. You ain't even have to do nothing. You ain't even have to do nothing. It's free. Niggas was ready to run and get PPP loans because it was free. You was ready to go cash that, get that stimulus check because it was free. You was ready to get them food stamps because they were free. But Yahuwah been offering you free life for 2,000 years and you steady telling him no. Come on, man. That John don't make no sense. Amen, sister. Amen. Praise Yahuwah indeed. It's free, bro. It's a free gift. It's free. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to do nothing. You ain't got to do nothing. Let me tell y'all something. Every single last one of y'all, when the gospel came out and called, you ain't have to do nothing. All you had to do was believe and you would have been forgiven. And all you had to do was change your life from that moment forward. See that mercy, and see, we can show you that with merciful as forth is Yahuwah in regards to Yahushua with the woman at the well. Not the woman at the well, excuse me, but the woman who was caught in adultery. Those men went to try to condemn her because remember, the law don't have no mercy. You know what I'm talking about? So when he sat with her, and the only reason why I saw in my mind, because it was this sister, I seen this live with this sister. I ain't going into detail because I don't know all the facts of what these people got going on, but it's pure unadulterated folly. You know what I'm saying? But she kept talking about, I ain't gonna hide my sins. He without sin cast the first stone. See, don't be one of them people that want to be on that type of time. See, I'll show my sins because he without sin cast the first stone, and you still going to hell. You ain't gonna look at you like, oh, you confess them sins, but you ain't stopped doing them though. Remember, he said, he that confess and forsake shall have mercy. You got to confess him, then leave him alone. See, let me tell you something, man, because I remember this old punk bastard, he had the nerve to say this here. I say that because you carried yourself like one. He be like, man, nigga gonna go. See, a lot of people there hear me talking about people go to hell, this, that, and the third. And they think if they get out of pocket, I'm gonna go off on you. Go off on you for what? I'm not gonna go off on you. You'll be held accountable. But more than anything, they're gonna let you know why is you doing that. You putting your life at risk. See, the issue is now sometimes you got to be shamed. What is that shame? You might have to stand up and say what you did. But it's more so we want you to live. So saying you wicked bastard, that's not profiting nobody. And ain't nobody around here can say that I ever did anybody like that. But the thing is most of us don't like somebody to say, man, what is you doing? Whatever it is that you're doing, that's what you want to do. See, so most people, when they come around here, because they know that ain't nobody going to turn no blind eye to what you got going on, they just leave. Because you already know you're wrong and you don't want to change it. There's nothing wrong with changing your life. See, when you do that, you tactically are proving that the word is right. because you don't want to change your life. Is what you doing, is it really worth going to hell for? No. But see, your pride won't allow you to be like, hey, man, bro, you bugging, bro. What is you doing? Tighten up. You can't be doing that, man. You tripping. Man, I told Will this earlier today, man, you know what, a lot of Hebrew niggas so evil, man. They'll sit around here and smash these women don't want to marry. I'm like, and hey, man, I ain't talking about you got to go get no marriage license if that ain't what you're on. I'm not here to debate that point with you. But I'm like, bro, if you ain't going to marry her, stop smashing her. Because a lot of Hebrews will smash a woman knowing that they ain't got no intentions on providing for this woman and making her his wife. They know they ain't got no intentions on doing it. Their whole intention is to fulfill their lust. And then wonder why these women don't listen to them when they go to talk about the word. A lot of these Hebrews that be teaching the word, be complaining about these women don't do this, these women don't do that. They see that you're a fraud. They don't respect it. You know what I'm talking about? And they see the dudes that you kick it with, they see that they stamping what you're doing. You know what I'm talking about? Don't nobody say nothing. And I ain't just talking about no sexual stuff. It's all type of stuff these dudes be doing, man. And people see it and they don't respect it. They don't respect it. So they don't care about what you're talking about. And unfortunately, it leads them to not caring about what the word talking about. And then all the people who teaching the word, who living like the Pharisees, unfaithful. That's why your righteousness got to exceed them, because they're unfaithful. You got to be faithful. That's why people don't want to follow the word, bro. You know what I'm saying? But we don't want to see all that, man. It ain't that hard, man. Man, don't you know if somebody love you, man, they tell, hey, bro, what is you doing, bro? You getting beside yourself. You getting sideways, man. Tighten up. That's because somebody want to see you do better. You know when somebody trying to embarrass you versus somebody telling you to do better. You know what I'm talking about? Every man on here, no, man, we all done had this conversation. Every man on here should want to be the best man that he could be mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and financially, all the way around the board. You should want to be the best version of yourself in every area. Most of these niggas don't. And they not accustomed to somebody saying, hey, man, you could be better. You know what I'm saying? When it's apparent that you're not putting in the effort. It's one thing if you're putting in the effort. If you're giving your best, man, and it just don't go the way you want it to go, that's life. It is what it is. You take from that and you learn from it. But most of these boys not even trying for it. And they think just talking is cool, man. We men, we don't do no talking. We got to do some doing. It got to be some action. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes things don't go to plan. That's life. That's just life, man. That's how it goes. But let me finish this out with this raggedy hoe here, man. Verse 20, then David returned to Baruch his household. Michal, the daughter of Saul, came out to meet David and said, how esteemed was the king of Yasharal today, who uncovered himself today in the eyes of handmaids of his servants, as one of the vain fellows shamelessly uncovered himself. David said unto Michal, before Yahuwah, who chose me before your father and before all his house to appoint me ruler, O people of Yahuwah, over Yasharal. Therefore I play before Yahuwah, and I will yet be more vile than thus, and will be more base in your own sight. And of the maid servants which you have spoken of, them which will I have be had in honor. Therefore, Michal, the daughter of Saul, had no child until the day of her death. Look at her, because she was a little envious, a little running in her mouth. She died with no children. Her womb died. David didn't. David got lifted up more and more because of the joy of God. There's no law against that. Death can't come to only life. Only the blessing of Yahuwah. That's the only thing that can come when you're dealing with the fruits of the Spirit, the byproduct of the word. This is what the word is supposed to produce if it's in your heart and you believe it and you living by it. That's what it's supposed to produce. And it ain't going to produce no death. Let that be known. Let's get one more example. I got time. I praise Yahuwah. I got time. Let's look at another one. Which one do we want to use? Gentleness or goodness? Matter of fact, let me read this Romans 8 while I'm talking about it, while it's on my brain. Romans 8:1. Also, with an example of them eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, it's an example of them going after the flesh. First is the spirit, which is the tree of life. You understand? Romans 8:1, therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Mashiach Yahushua, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Ruach. The law of the Ruach of life in Mashiach Yahushua have made me free from the law of sin and death. For what the law could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh, Elohim sending his son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin, condemned sin in the flesh. That's why you see Adam dying for his wife in the beginning, to sit back and show you that he would condemn sin in the flesh later. In the same likeness that death was brought into the world would be the same likeness that life was brought. That's why you see Adam partaking in that tree. But when the love of God is not in you, you're not going to see that. You're not going to see that. You're going to sit back and like, he was simping for his wife. At that point, you saying that Yahuwah was simping for his wife by being willing to offer himself for her. You see the blasphemy? You see how dudes running their mouth and done spoke words of damnation against their soul because they done spoke against the living Elohim unknowingly? Prayerfully, he don't hold that to their charge. You know what I'm talking about? Because prayerfully, they didn't say that with the actual belief in their heart that they thought that Yahuwah was a simp. Now, a lot of brothers out here simps and try to say they doing what Yahuwah did, but you ain't doing what Yahuwah did. You's a fool. You know what I'm talking about? See, there's a difference. You ain't dying because to redeem your wife. You doing stupid stuff because you is emotionally attached and lusting after a scallywag. You know what I'm talking about? You know why I say that? Because a woman, a virtuous woman, a faithful woman, godly woman, no man would ever be moved to do anything foolish where he would put his life in danger, because that woman would not conduct herself in a fashion where he would have to. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be walking around here talking about you going to fight and swing on men about saying something to your old lady or this, that, there, and the third. All that tells me is you know you got a scallywag, a foot dragger, a maggot. You know what I'm talking about? Because I ain't finna do all that. Because one thing I know, boy, from the day I was born, boy, that's that woman vagina, and she gonna do what she want to with it. And one thing I can't do is stress myself out about what she gonna do with it. Because when she ain't in my presence, I don't know who she with or what she doing. And the last thing I'm gonna do is concern myself with it. I'm gonna concern myself about my purpose, getting to this word and getting to this bread. I'm not worried about what this woman doing. When you catch yourself worrying about what a woman doing, you ain't worried about what you ought to be doing. And if you too worried about what that woman doing, you need to get you another. You know what I'm talking about? That's all that means, because you worry about the wrong thing. You can't control that monkey, man. She gonna do what she want to with it. That's hers. Yahuwah gave it to her. Now, if she a woman, she gonna keep it to herself and give it to a man. If she a whore, shoot, you already know, boy, she just like the stove, boy. It's going to the highest bidder. You know what I'm talking about? Sound like Ezekiel, don't it? Going to the highest bidder. Nevertheless, that the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us who walk not after the flesh, but after the Ruach. And that pertains, I got something else to add while we here. Let's get this Hebrews 7. I've been talking about it all day, this Hebrews 7. Let me get that on here too, man. I'm trying to go ahead and connect some dots so y'all can be ready for it when we come into this week. I want you to come over here to Hebrews chapter 7. I want you to look at verse 1. Matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to grab some from every place. I want you to come to Hebrews chapter 5. Because we ain't talked about Melchizedek in a long time. I'm going to introduce another point to you. The priesthood of Melchizedek is representative of the tree of life, and the priesthood of Aaron is representative of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So let me go ahead and introduce that point, because that's another point that we're going to have to decipher so you can see the difference between the two. So we're just going to introduce. We're not going to go into great detail right now. I'm going to just introduce it because I got 7 minutes. Verse 1 of Hebrews chapter 5. For every high priest taken from among men is ordained for men and things to Elohim, that he may offer both gifts and sacrifices for sins. Who can have compassion on the ignorant and them that are out of the way? For he that himself also is compassed with infirmity. And by reason thereof he ought, as for the people, so also for himself, to offer for sins. For those that don't know, this is referring to the Day of Atonement, Leviticus 16, if you would like to familiarize yourself. And on the Day of Atonement, the high priest not only had to offer for himself, he had to offer for the people. So you should already see a conundrum dealing with that. And no man take this honor unto himself, but he that is called of Elohim, as Aaron. We'll take a look at that. The high priesthood was only given to the sons of Aaron by commandment of Elohim. So Mashiach esteemed not himself to be made a high priest, but he said unto him, you art my son, today have I begotten you. He said also in another, you a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. who in the days of his flesh, when he offered up prayers with supplications, with strong crying and tears unto him that was able to save him from death, and was heard in that he feared. That was the other point where I was talking about with the difference between Adam and Yahushua. Because Yahushua was made to resurrect from the dead, and Adam was not. So Adam dying for his wife, he had to go ahead and perish. He's just a similitude of that which was to come later. But he that came later, who became sin, who knew no sin, he would be resurrected from the dead for his belief, trust, and hope in his God. Nevertheless, though he were a son, yet learned he obedience by the things which he suffered. And being made perfect, he became the author of eternal salvation unto all that obey him. Called of Elohim, a high priest after the order of Melchizedek. Hebrews 7:1. For Melchizedek, Malach of Salem, priest of the Most High Elohim, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the kings and baruched him. This is also the difference between the priesthood of Aaron and the priesthood of Melchizedek. The priesthood of Melchizedek was a king and priest sitting upon his throne. You can get you Zechariah 6 and 9 and familiarize yourself with Yahusha, the high priest, son of Jehozadak. If you're not familiar with that, we dealt with it a few months back. It will be reintroduced because we're going to be talking about Melchizedek, to whom also Abraham gave a tenth part of all, first being by interpretation king of righteousness, and after that also king of Salem, which is king of peace, without father, without mother, without descent, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but made like unto son of Elohim, abide a priest continually. Melchizedek was not Yahusha. It clearly tells you that he is like the son of Elohim. Now consider how great this man, who under whom even the patriarch Abraham gave the tenth of the spoils. Truly they that are of sons of Levi, who receive the office of a priesthood, have a commandment to take tithes of the people according to the law, that is of their brethren, though they came out of the loins of Abraham. But he whose descent is not counted from them received tithes of Abraham and blessed him that had the promises. See, we talked about that before. Dudes be talking about tithes. You can't do that. Well, tithes was before Levi, you jackass. You know what I'm talking about? That was before Levi, you dummy. So I guess you're going to turn around and say, Jay, what about Jacob? And these boys wasn't tithing no fruits and grains. That's not what Jacob did. That's not what Abraham did. That's two witnesses. The matter is established. They were not tithing fruits and grains, but you see what this wooden bruise want to hold to. See, the law say that's only for Levi. And now you going to hell because you holding to the law and the priesthood of carnal commandment that can't make you perfect nor give you. So therefore may you perish in your stupidity. You know what I'm talking about? Arguing people down and you're dead wrong. You're dead wrong. Let's continue. And without all contradiction, the less is blessed of the better. Here, men that die receive tithes, but there he of whom it is witnessed that he lived. And I say, as I may so say, Levi also, who received tithes, paid tithes in Abraham. For he was yet in the loins of his father when Melchizedek met him. Look what he said. Since you were in the loins of Abraham, Levi paid tithes too. Oh, you're not exempt. If therefore perfection were by the Levitical priesthood, for under it the people received the law, what further need was there of another priest that should rise after the order of Melchizedek and not be called after the order of Aaron? Drop down to 15. And it is yet far more evident that after the similitude of Melchizedek, there arise another priest who is made not after the law of carnal commandment, but of the power of endless life. For he that testify you are priest forever after the order of Melchizedek, for there is truly a disannulling of the commandment going before the weakness and unprofitableness thereof. For the law made nothing perfect, but the bringing in of a better hope, by which we draw near unto Elohim, in so much as not without an oath. Now we're going to stop it right there for now. But I didn't want you to understand that when you think about that, when he said that this was a disannulling of an instruction that was weak and unprofitable. What is the disannulling? The disannulling of the high priesthood of Aaron. Because it was weak through the flesh and did not profit those who came, because every single solitary year there had to be made an offering for sins on the Day of Atonement. But because Mashiach, a priest after the order of Melchizedek, that once he offered up himself, he had no need to continue to offer it, as he is a continual offering, which this chapter is going to continue to speak of. He went into Shamahim, separate from sinners, higher than Shamahim, in order to make reconciliation for the people, because he offered up himself. So therefore you could get the profit of everlasting life and the strength that the faith of God gives, because the law does not give strength, because trust in Yahuwah is everlasting strength, and the law don't give you that. Only faith in Elohim give you that. And again, we still got a few more elements with the fruits of the Spirit to show you those who did it, that they did not die, that it produced life. We will show the difference that the law of Moses and Mashiach coming is the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and also that the priesthoods show the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil, so that you can understand and that your faith will be rooted. And all this is just springing from the fact that there won't be no law in the kingdom of Elohim, because there will be no sinners there. Everyone will be of the Ruach. There is no sin in the spirit. And we say there's sin in the spirit, then we say Yahuwah is sin. That's why Paul say, is Mashiach the minister of sin? Elohim forbid. He said, if we be found sinners while we seek to be justified, is Mashiach the minister of sin? Elohim said no. Hallelujah for Yahushua in the word, man. No doubt, though. I appreciate y'all time to see. Did everybody understand? Anybody got any questions? Because I know, I'm going to put it his way. It seems like it's deep and it's heavy, but it's really not. You know what I'm talking about? It's just because this is not a common conversation. Most of you brothers and sisters who've been here for many a season, this should have been very easily digestible for you. For those of you who may not have been here for a season, but if your faith was solid, this was easily digestible for you. Now, if you're a baby in the word, then I know this is not easily digestible. And that's why I'm asking, do you have questions? Because I wouldn't expect a baby to digest it. But if you have a trust in God and you see his word, you'll be like, dang, that was there the whole time. And prayerfully, your soul rejoiced at the goodness and mercy and love of Yahuwah, because it is infinite and it endures forever. You know what I'm saying? Think about what type of Elohim we have that has worked the work so great, that though we rebelled against him and partook in sin and death and weakness, that he desired to make us strong and be profitable unto us and give us life through no good works of our own, but through the goodness and righteousness of Elohim. And this was the other point I mentioned, because we didn't talk about this verse plenty of times. That woman who committed adultery, and they was like, he without sin carried the first stone. But what he told her, he said, woman, no man condemn you. She said, nay, Lord. She said, and I don't condemn you either. Why? Because with Elohim there is mercy. See the Exodus 34. See, there's no mercy with the law, because the law says she got to die. But since he God and he can have mercy on whom he will have mercy, that's why he could do that. Y'all understand that? Y'all see that? That's why he could do that. You know what I'm talking about? That's why he could do that. And that goes back to what's in Psalms. If he was to count every sin, none should stand. If he said, if Yahuwah marked every sin, who should stand? But there's forgiveness with him, that he might be reverenced. You know what I'm talking about? See, all us, when the call came out, we all knew we were sinners. And see, some of you didn't come automatically to the word because people came with you with the law and you was condemned in your heart and you felt no need to move. But if the gospel is what got brought to, and some of you just got happy because you found out you were Israelite and you ran with that. But at the same time, you knew it was a void. You didn't feel complete, because even though you knew you was an Israelite and you put on the outfits or changed the name or whatever it is that you did, you still didn't feel whole, because you were still living the same way you were before you knew that. You know what I'm talking about? You were still living the same way, and deep down in your soul, you knew this can't be right. I can't be doing this can't be what it is, but bump it, I'm out here. But when that gospel of Yahushua HaMashiach came to you and you seen the error of your ways, not because somebody condemned you with a law, but because you seen the goodness of Elohim and seen you were contrary to him, then your heart began to move and said, this man is being merciful enough to call me into his heavenly kingdom. I shall go. And I shall lay aside my burdens and put aside my flesh and transform myself in the image of the Son of the living Elohim, that I might have right to the tree of life, to dwell in this man's kingdom and behold his face and to sing praises to his name and worship at his throne for all eternity. You know what I'm talking about? Like straight up and down, that gospel hitting your heart is totally different, because it don't condemn you in the same fashion. It gives you hope that if I put these sins away, that I can be transformed and be made like unto Elohim. So you put them away. And I ain't saying that everybody put them away on the same day. You know what I'm talking about? Because you had to grow and mature. You know what I'm talking about? You had to understand and look and see the faultiness in mindsets and ways and doings so you perfect yourself according to this man's gospel. But you did it. You could have stayed the same. But you say, I'll be born of Elohim and I'll change in order to be as God so I can live with God. Praise God. You know what I'm talking about? That's how that roll, man. And everybody don't want to do that. And that's okay. But give thanks to Elohim in the name of Yahushua that he offered you that opportunity because he could have passed you on by. But in his goodness and mercy, and when I say passed you on by, meaning he didn't have to open up your ears nor your heart. Because at the end of the day, he got to open your ears and your heart to that. Ain't nothing that I could do. Ain't nothing that you could do. Because everybody that's been taught of Elohim gonna come to the Son. Amen, Brother Reynolds. Amen, there. They're gonna come to the Son. That's what it's about, man. See, everybody should walk away from here with a little bit more strength, a little bit more faith, a little bit more joy, and a little bit more love that you had for Yahuwah before you came. You know what I'm talking about? That you know what, it's not a vain thing for me to serve God. There's a profit from. I'm gonna get a gain from this, man. I'm gonna be strong from this, man. My strength comes from my trust in God. My strength comes from my hope in Yahuwah. My strength comes that I expect to be resurrected from the dead if I hold fast to his promises. And because I hold fast to his promises, I'm gonna hold fast to his word, meaning I'm not gonna violate his law, because why would I do such a thing? That don't even make any sense. My God is a God of order. And his law is order. Don't you know when you keep this man's law, ain't gonna be no confusion in your life. You know what I'm talking about? When we find that we have confusion in our life, it's usually because we outside the framework of the will of Elohim. What is confusion? That's disorder. Where there's disorder, that means, oh, hey, man, are we walking in the will of Elohim? Or are we walking our own will? But give thanks to you, man. I appreciate everybody time to see the man. I bless all y'all at the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Yahuwah willing, man. We picked this up on the Shabbat. What this is, July. So we about 2 months out for trumpets. About 2 months out. So let that be known. Trumpets and atonement and tabernacles is going to come up real swift like. We 2 months out. We about literally about a week, 2 months and a week. We about 67, 68 days out for trumpets now. You know what I'm saying? So for those of you who out of town and you trying to slide, let me know so I can let the ladies know so they can have that accurate head count, because I'm not sure. I think they're going to cater for trumpets, if I'm not mistaken. I think Muffin say for the singular day feast, that's what they would prefer to do. So Muffin can correct me on that. But if I'm not mistaken, I think that's what she said that they're going to do. Y'all know what we do for atonement. If y'all want to know, if y'all not, y'all going to have to get with me, those of you that's on YouTube and then on Clubhouse, on what we do for atonement, because I don't talk about that on camera. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to be a part of that, you know what I'm saying? I think you can send messages on YouTube, but I'm not sure. If you're interested on what we do on atonement, and you on Clubhouse, you can send me a message on that. I can clue you in on that. I give you my phone number, whatever case may be. You can talk me directly. I can let you know what we do and how we do it. You know what I'm talking about? Because like I said, I don't talk about that on camera. I ain't going to talk about it on camera. But if you want to be a part of it, reach out to me and let me know so I can let you know what we're going to do. You know what I'm saying? Because we do this every year. And obviously, because atonement's every year. You know what I'm saying? And I know some of y'all be wanting to participate in whatever is going on. You know what I'm saying? And also, like I said, anybody that's on the stream in the Clubhouse now, I ain't no you can holler at me, man. You know what I'm saying? And you ain't got to holler at me on no on these things. You can call me, understand? You ain't got to be on some old, I don't want to bother him. You know what I'm talking about? If you got something you want to understand word-wise, you got something you dealing with, whatever the case may be, all you got to do is ask. I give you my number, you can call me. Don't make no difference. Anybody on here who know, well, I answer my phone and usually answer it before it even ring on your side. Because if I don't, I'll forget. You know what I'm talking about? It's my Dwayne Bond time. Hold on, I'll type it on here, man. Because if I don't, I'll forget. I try to respond to people as swiftly as possible because if I don't, I will forget. And like I said, if you call me, I will answer the phone. You know what I'm talking about? I answer because I do business. I answer phone numbers that I don't know every day. You know what I'm talking about? So it don't matter. It don't matter what you got going on. You know what I'm talking about? All you got to do is holler at me, man. We ain't on that type of time around here. Like I said, though, if you want to be a part of whatever we got going on, you know what I'm saying, with certain stuff, just let me know. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to certain stuff, I can plug you in with the ladies because some stuff I don't actually do myself. The ladies do. It might be some stuff that some of the brothers doing. I don't actually deal with that. You know what I'm saying? So I have to plug you in with that. When it comes to the feast days, the food, you know what I'm saying, the planning, all that, I ain't got nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? Muffin deal with that. She delegate that how she see fit. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got nothing to do with that. But like I said, for atonement, I can plug y'all in on what we do for atonement, give you the rundown of how we kick it on that day if you want to participate. But I always appreciate each and every last one of y'all, man, taking y'all time out, you know what I'm saying, to come around here and see what we got going on because you don't have to do that. So first and foremost, we appreciate that. Praise Yahuwah that he gave you a heart to seek after his word. Praise be to Yahuwah that he gave you a mind to hold on to his word. You know what I'm talking about? And don't let nobody snatch your crown. Bump with these brews out here talking about, bump with these Christians talking about, bump with your friends and family talking about. You know what I'm saying? Let your heart, mind, and soul be knit with the man whose name is written in heaven. Hold fast to every single solitary thing he say so that you can get your full reward. Because when you go stand before that throne, ain't none of them people going to be standing there with you. You're going to have to answer for what you did in this body, whether good or evil. Let everything that you answer for be of good, and let your soul be resurrected, pure and clean. With that being said, Yahuwah willing, I'm going to catch y'all on the next one.